last time I spoke to you, last time I spoke with you, I didn't have enough. What I did was I double booked. So the problem was I didn't have the time I really wanted to spend to talk with you. This time I have more time. So we're talking with Cullen Darby. I've known you for how many years now?
What, 8?
8 years now.
Yeah.
8 years.
It doesn't seem like it, but yeah,
right,
8
that's
years.
right. We're both ex-Air Force.
Yeah.
And I spent 4 years and 8 months in the Air Force.
And I spent about 4 years and 5 months in the Air Force.
4 years, 5 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were stationed. I got stationed. Let's go through where we were stationed. My first place, of course, we both did Lackland, which is the basic training. Then from there, I went to tech school at Shepherd in Texas. And then after that, I was sent to Puerto Rico.
Right.
Ramey Air Force Base in Puerto Rico. I was there. Then I got orders from there to Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana.
Right.
And then they had a calling for Vietnam because people in my career field were being asked to come in to give time in Vietnam because we were being run out of Vietnam and they needed people to maintain the base.
Right.
So I put in for Vietnam, but you know the dream sheet you have to put in for wherever you want to go.
Right.
So I put in all of Asia, all of Europe, or anywhere on the West Coast in the States, since I'm from California. And they gave me Japan.
Tokyo. Right.
But they said I have to extend. And I said, for how long? They said enough time so you can have 2 years.
Right.
Because 2-year tour. So that meant additional 8 years because I'd only had 1 year and 4 months left.
Oh,
so I would have been out.
You stayed
for
in 8
months.
years.
Not 8
no,
years. I mean 8 months. 8 months. I'm sorry, 8 months more because I had 1 year and 4 months left, so I needed to have 2 years. So I had to extend 8 months. I didn't know. I thought I was going to lose the orders because I wanted to go somewhere outside the continental United States.
Right.
So I get to Japan, and that's a whole nother story, man.
Wow.
Wow.
We got so many things that parallel, so many things.
Yours?
Okay, I went in the military in 1985 in the Air Force. And then my first base, of course, was Lackland Air Force Base for training. And then I went to Denver, Colorado. I forgot the name of that base, but it's a base there for Denver for training.
Okay.
And but I only went to Lackland basic training for 2 weeks.
Well, Gio, tell me about that. You told me before. I know.
I was surprised.
2 weeks because it's actually 6 weeks.
It's supposed to be 6 weeks.
6 weeks, right?
But because I had ROTC in high school all those years, they gave me all that credit, and I had no idea until the sergeant or the training guy said, "Hey, Darby, you got to go. You're done." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I got 4 more weeks." He's like, "Well, you're a PA." I said, "What's that?" He said, "Proficient Advanced. You're advanced." So
were you the only one in your squadron like that?
Yeah. Yeah, and I said, "Well, see y'all later," you know.
And they would go, "What the hell?"
Yeah, I was like, I didn't have no graduation.
Nothing
I was just
like that.
out of there. Yeah, and they sent me straight to the
place
tech
in Colorado.
Okay. Yeah. Then after that, I went to Travis Air Force Base for 2 years. And what happened there? I was in supply, but I was in a part called Dormitory Furnishings Management, where we just take out dormitory furniture, the old furniture, take it out, put it in the warehouse, and then replace it with new furniture, all these big cabinets and beds and heavy
because we had our lockers and everything. Yeah, lockers
all those
and
big
beds.
Yes, so imagine lifting all that stuff every day. That's your job. Or somebody want to come in and borrow beds. New families come and they come in the warehouse.
Right, on base,
Yeah, and you have to, give them their beds. And I said, man, I didn't come in the military to just be a mover.
Right.
So the only way I can get out of that situation, I said, they had a program called, what do you call it? When you apply blindly, and they call it, anyway, I forgot what it was, but you can apply to say, all right, ship me anywhere in the world.
Anywhere you want, just get me out of here.
Just get me out of here. And they say, hey.
Not the dream sheet, because the dream sheet was
No, this ain't the dream sheet. Okay. This is saying, hey, get me out of here, send me, I'll take whatever. And if people say, hey, man, they could send you to Turkey or Afghanistan.
Well, they used to say, bumfuck Egypt.
Yeah, or worse, right?
Or worse, right.
So I applied for that, and next thing you know, they say, hey, you're going to Okinawa. So I said.
What you mean? You hadn't been in the service for how long?
I was in the service for like 2 years.
Before you went to Okinawa?
Yes.
Okay. So you're already there. So
then they sent this. I said, where's Okinawa? What the heck is Okinawa?
Yeah, right. That's how
so I thought, man, before I got to Okinawa, I said, okay, let me buy a lot of chocolate for all of the kids that's going to be.
So do you think you were going to Africa someplace?
I thought I was going to be at some poor,
remote
raggedy, you know, who knew what, I still didn't know what Okinawa was until I actually landed there, you know.
You didn't check up or anything? You didn't ask anybody?
I was asking people, hey, where's Okinawa? And nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
Right? So I said, okay, I'm going to buy a lot of chocolate. There's going to be a lot of poor kids outside the gate, you know, with their hands out, you know. That was my vision. I was watching too many Vietnam movies. Right?
Yeah. You just knew you were going to the Orient, but you didn't know where.
Yeah, so I'm like, let me get all this chocolate for the kids. And I got there, food was expensive, everything was a fortune. I'm like, I am glad I got this chocolate because I'm going to eat it myself.
Jeez. So you got to Okinawa, yeah.
So I was in Okinawa, and then I was supposed to do another 2 years, but I extended. This is what happened, how I ended up with the 4 years and 5 months. I extended for a year. So I was supposed to do a total of 5 years. But what happened is they came out with an early out program. Mm-hmm. So suddenly at the 4 year, 3 month or 4 year, 4 month area, they said, hey, they were winding down the military. Right. They were trying to get everybody out of the military. So they said, hey, either re-enlist now or get out now. And I said, but they said, if you re-enlist now, you got to stay here in Okinawa for another 2 months. No, if you get out now, you have to stay in Okinawa another 2 months, and then you can out process. But if you re-enlist, we'll send you to your next base right away, and you can re-enlist. Mm-hmm. And I said, all right, I'll re-enlist. But that was never my intention. I said, all right, I'll re-enlist. So they sent me to my next base, which was Minot, North Dakota, Lackland. Minot Air Force Base.
North Dakota's bases you could ever go to.
Nothing but snow and missiles and sadness, and the whole town closed at 12 o'clock. I didn't even know where the town was. It was the first time I seen American Indians. I'm like, oh my God, I forgot about you guys. I never knew. I'm like, where is all the American Indians? They are all up in North Dakota. So as soon as I got there, and they said, okay, here's your re-enlistment papers. And I said, I changed my mind. You know, I don't want to enlist.
That's what you have to.
So I in process and out process. I was there for a month. So then that's how I got out.
You only stayed there for a month?
Because I in process and out process. Because I told them, hey, I changed my mind. So by doing that, I got out of the military even earlier than they wanted me to.
Okay, right. They would have had you
earlier than they were planning.
Planning, right.
Yeah.
So where'd you go from there? What happened from that then on?
So then
did you always have intentions to do business and stuff? Or were you thinking about that?
All my life, I was thinking that way. Even when I was a kid, I did. I sold newspapers. I cut grass in the summer, shoveled snow in the winter. I had lemonade stands. I knew the lemonade tasted terrible, but I knew the advantage I had was that I was a kid, and all the neighbors would come and buy it.
Just
to look at the kid.
For the little kid.
Yeah, and I knew that at that age, which was funny.
Wait. So is this something that, did your parents encourage you to do this kind of stuff, or was it because you're watching your mom work really hard, or your father work really hard? You have older brothers or sisters?
No, actually, I was watching my father not work. Okay. And I said, Dad, I want to do exactly what you do, which is not, I never seen him do nothing, Right. But he had, he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to work, I want your job. I want a job just like you, Dad. I want to do nothing. I don't want to use my muscles or for nothing. I just want to be dressed nice and be a businessman.
So he was always dressed nice?
He never had a pair of jeans or gym shoes or nothing.
So he's always clean. He was
clean and always rode the Continentals, the Mark 4s, 3s, 2s, 1s, everything.
All those nice cars, everything.
Everything.
Did he have any diamond rings or anything?
Yeah, he did. That's why I wore all that stuff.
Wait. Yeah. He keep his hair slicked down too?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Wait, hold it. Dude. Now, you didn't see any women outside your mother there, did you?
Oh, no. I seen, all the women I seen were outside my mother.
Come on, really?
Yeah, my father had like 5 or 6 families. So he was married to my mom, but he had like 5 or 6 families. So if he would come home every 3 days. Okay. So if he was home before 3 days, like if he was home 2 days in a row, all of us kids would get together and say, "Is Dad okay? We think he's sick or something." Because he was here 2 days.
How many from your mom?
5 of us.
That your father had with your mother?
Yes, but then we have another 15 or 16 with some other
half brothers and sisters.
Yes, stepbrothers and sisters.
So are you the oldest from your mother?
Yes,
You're the first.
I'm the oldest son, but I have an older sister, And I have 2 older sisters.
Okay.
And a younger brother.
So you're the third by
Yes,
okay.
I'm the third. Yeah.
And a younger brother and
yes.
another sister?
Yes. Younger brother, younger sister, and 2 older sisters.
Are you close with all of them?
Yeah.
They're still
close with all of them. Yeah.
Okay.
They're still, we still
but
talk.
But not all of them are in the States?
Yes.
You're the only one that's outside?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you wanted to be like your dad.
Yeah,
you wanted to dress like him and everything else. So when you got out the service, and after all your entrepreneurship as a little kid selling Kool-Aid and stuff.
Actually, I was doing entrepreneurship while I was in the military, you know. And some of the things I've done in my life as far as business were either to, you know, some business, you know, made me upset or somebody made me upset. And then I started the business to get even. Okay. So some of my businesses were just like revenge businesses that worked out pretty well.
Now, tell me one real quick.
Okay, when I was at Travis Air Force Base, I bought this Pinto, and I bought it for like $1,200 or $1,200 or $1,400, right? So then it was this guy in my squadron and that I knew, but at the time, as soon as I bought the Pinto, a couple weeks later, I saw a MGB sports car that I wanted, and I said, okay, I want to get the MGB. I don't really want the Pinto. So there was this guy in my same job in my section, and I said, hey, take this for $600. I just paid $1,400. You can have it. Just give me $600. It was $600 or $800. But what happened was, instead of him appreciating the gesture, because I was dumping the car because I wanted to quickly just get an MGB and I didn't care about the money. So instead of him appreciating the kindness that I had shown him, he went around and told everybody, oh, Cullen, he's stupid. He just bought this car for $1,400 and he just gave it to me for $600, right? So about 8 months later, he came across another car. What was it? Anyway, it was another car, like a Monte Carlo.
Okay.
So then at some time or another, that car came up for sale and he was selling it for $1,800. So I said, I'll buy it. So I bought the car from him for $1,800. Then I just washed it and I took it and put it on a lemon lot, which we call a lemon lot, where you put the cars for sale.
And you're in the service now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So where we put the cars for sale.
I remember the lemon lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
so
right.
I took it.
One.
I bought it for $1,800 from him, and with the intention of selling it for more to get back at him. So I took it. I put it on a lemon lot for $3,500, and I sold the car in 3 days.
For $3,500.
Yes, and I went back to the squadron to everybody in my job, and I said, James, an idiot. He sold me this car for $1,800. I took it and sold it for $35. You know.
Right, there you go.
So
that was your first revenge business.
Yes,
okay.
And then next thing you know, I said, you know what? I can do this constantly as a business. So I would keep going to the credit union, getting loans. I had a stack of loans because I would just use their money and keep buying these cards and selling them. But then there was this lady at the credit union said to her colleague, hey, he can't keep doing this. You know, he's keep getting these loans and coming back. And other lady said, hey, I don't see nothing wrong with it. He's paying his loans off.
Yeah,
everybody always got to hate.
That's what we're in business for.
Yeah, everybody always hate when you do have business because they don't have the guts to do a business.
They see you doing something. They look at you and they try to judge you as soon as they see you.
Yeah.
And they haven't put any thought into it. They know nothing about your background. Your parents could have been extremely wealthy. They don't know a thing about you.
Right.
But they've already made it. But we all do it.
Right.
I shouldn't say that's unique to any one person. As human beings, we tend to do that. But go on. So that's the first thing.
So that was one thing.
And then we're getting back to, so when you got out let's get back to the part to where you get out of the service, now you want to start doing a business.
Yes. Okay. I got out of the service. I went back to the United States for, after I left Okinawa, I went back to Detroit for about 8 months. And in that time, I got a real estate license from Michigan. Okay. And I got that in a week. I took a crash course, and I'm good at those because I love real estate. I've always loved real estate. And I've had 2 real estate licenses, one in Michigan, one in Hawaii. Never sold a house. But I just love real estate, you know. So anyway, so I took the real estate course, got the real estate license in Michigan. Then signed up to sell land for this corporation that was out of Florida. But after about a month of me trying to sell land to my relatives, and all of them didn't want to buy anything. And
of course they don't.
Then we seen the same company that I was working for on a TV show called 60 Minutes for fraud because they were selling swamp land in Florida.
And telling people it was something else.
Yes. Exactly. So I quit that company, and then I went and worked for a dating company in Detroit. where I would go to people's houses and sign them up for the dating service.
No, wait, what made you decide to get into that? Did they approach you or did you approach them?
I approached them.
Well, why did you approach them on the date? Oh,
because I didn't have a job.
Okay. But I mean, there's a lot of other things you could be doing too. I mean, going to a dating service.
But I like interesting things.
Okay,
so that's how I, end up ultimately in the dating service for these 30 years that but that's the start.
But that was the beginning of it.
Yeah. So my first customer, I went to his house where he was like 24 years old and I was about the same age. So he was clearly gonna pay me like $1,200 or $1,500 to join. But I start talking to him, hey man, we're the same age, let's go out. You don't gotta pay this, let's just go out and pick up some girls ourselves.
Oh, so you're ruining your own business.
I'm ruining my own business.
Yeah, your own self.
I'm ruining my own business because I didn't understand the dating business myself, even though I'm working. Right. So then I realized, you know what, I'm not gonna be good at this for these people in this situation. I just didn't understand the concept at the time. So then maybe 6 months later, I went to Okinawa. I got married, went to Okinawa.
Well, you went back to Okinawa.
Yes.
You're civilian now.
Yeah, I'm a civilian now.
What made you decide to go? Did you have anything to go back for?
I had a situation where I was going to get married, So.
You knew that when you left to go back to? So she was just waiting for you?
Yeah.
How long did she wait?
Until I got back. So it was about a year or so, about 8 or 9 months.
And you kept in contact?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Back then it was no internet. It was just letters.
That's right, I know, yeah.
It was just letters, Right.
So
then I got back to Okinawa, and then I only had, I had like $1,000, but I was always creative with small money.
When you went back, you had $1,000. See, when I came back here, I had $300.
Right.
My father thought I was the dumbest person he'd ever seen in his whole life. He didn't say it that way. He got so mad at me, he didn't know what to do. He said, you're going to go back to Japan when you just got through getting out you spent 4 years in service. You know you could work at the post office for 16 more years. You retired and have 2 people going for you.
Right.
Man, he was so mad. I said that.
Well, speaking in those terms of retirement, the reason, right before I got out the military, I thought to myself, okay, I can do another 15 years in the military and retire.
And still have plenty,
and have, some money coming in. So what I told myself is that I absolutely must be past that point, of breaking even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before you got to that age.
Yes.
15 years later, you better be making as much as you, or more than the person who stayed in the service.
Yes.
15 years. I got
yes. And I knocked that goal out the park.
Let me tell you what mine was, just on that, on the same note. Mine was this. Once I got in the service, I realized I didn't want to be in anyway because I got drafted. And my first year in college, I got drafted for NAM. Oh, I knew they were sending everybody to NAM. That's one place we didn't want to go.
Right.
But once I got in the service, I thought, they kept on trying to get me to go to officers training school. And I said, why? Because if I did and I hadn't finished college, they'd pay for the college, but then I owed them that time plus, 4 years.
Right.
So if I stayed in college for 4 years, I have to give them another 8 years in the service to pay off my, then it's free. But you can't be, ethnically speaking, you really can't be rich and be in the service and show your wealth. And that's something I've always wanted from a little kid, to have wealth. And everyone determines what that's different for different people.
Yeah.
But I knew you could not pull up in a nice car every year and be in the military and not have the Office of Special Investigations coming over checking on you and then telling you that's not good for the morale. Even if you are an officer.
They were checking on me even though I wasn't even in the military, but
they did the
I
same
had
with me.
access to the base, but I had a brand new BMW at like 24 years old.
I had a brand new RX-7.
Yeah.
And they came over, they called me in the OSI.
And you weren't even in the military.
I was out of the service.
Right.
And they said, you know what the guy said to me that was so insulting?
What?
And I was teaching him and his wife trampoline in the evenings because I still had the gymnastics program. He said, either you're the smartest drug person. No, he said, either you're the cleanest person we've ever met or the smartest drug dealer. And his name was Vince. I never forgot that. That hurt. That really hurt.
Right.
Why can't you just say that I'm really smart at doing business?
Right.
That I know how to market myself.
Right.
Why would you say that?
I remember I was I was getting out of the car and there was a couple of guys standing off to the side and I heard them say, oh, he must work for the BMW dealership and got a loaner car or whatever. That's his
always
work
some
car.
excuse to make
and
them
I
feel
said,
good about
excuse me, I don't work for BMW, never have, never will.
But it's interesting. But I think that, like I said again, I'm not saying this against other people so much. I'm saying that all of us as human beings
Mm-hmm.
have our quirks and stuff, and we wonder.
Mm-hmm.
Because society doesn't show us enough in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get to live with people that have things that have been doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the things that you and I have done,
Mm-hmm.
and the people like us,
Mm-hmm.
isn't written in books.
Right.
You know, they don't
Yeah.
teach you this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you have access to a lot of stuff on the internet
Mm-hmm.
if you know how to look for it.
Yeah. But even though there's access to it, a lot of people just
They don't know what to, they don't know
not
what,
even motivated enough. Don't
But
even,
not just that, they
even
don't know
if
what to look for. It's,
Yeah.
it's like this. It's like you and I.
Mhm.
When they said Okinawa to you,
Mhm.
and they said Tokyo to me, I knew Tokyo. But when they said, you know, Fusa to me,
Right.
what's that mean?
Right.
Well, you talking a different language, or what? Is that a place? What is it?
Right.
You know, I remember, this is something I'll add to it, and you go on with your story.
Mhm.
When I used to come back, the first couple of years I lived in Japan,
Mhm.
people say, speak to me in Japanese.
Right.
And I would go, sure. They say, what do you want me to say? They say, well, say, it's really clear today. And I'd say, Gyoza Akasaka. And they go, wow. They say, that's something else. And they say, well, say that I'm having a good time today. And I'd say, Shinjuku Kichibunji, Kokubunji,
So-
Ginza. And they'd go, wow.
So you're talking crazy, and they don't even know that you're
No, I'm
talking
just saying cities and food and everything
Right.
else. But they don't, how would they know?
Right. Right.
How would they
exactly,
know?
Exactly.
That's so funny, you know, that's how it is. So until you know, you don't know. So
Yeah.
people don't know what to look for when they look on the net. And that's another reason why I think this podcast is important. So we can give little ideas as to what they can look for and what people can
Little
look for. And what they
tidbits
can
of
do,
what's
tidbits,
going on in
what they're
Tokyo
doing.
or whatever.
But I think the fact that we've been able to do it here in Japan for all these years
Yeah.
says a whole lot.
Yeah,
I
a lot,
always
yeah.
tip my hat to any person who comes over here from another country and does well.
Yeah.
Especially at an expat status. They're not joking.
And I always think that success is wherever you are, as long as you are the success-minded individual.
There you go.
I could have been in Germany. I'm still going to make it.
That's
you
right.
know, I could
It
have been
doesn't-
still
that's
in
true. It doesn't matter
USA.
where you- That's
Yeah.
right. I agree.
Because I knew that
I
from
agree.
when I was a kid. My father said, "You know what? You're going to be a businessman." I said, "Daddy, I'm already a businessman." You know what I'm
You
saying?
know how much Kool-Aid I sold?
You know how much Kool-Aid and newspapers and lawns I cut, you know, and have my uncles and stuff coming to borrow money from me at age 13, and they never paid me back. By
Still
the
in
way,
debt to you.
you know,
Still
yeah,
in debt
yeah,
to you.
yeah.
Well, if they hear this podcast, they'll know they still owe you. So tell me, so you came back to Okinawa.
So I came back to Okinawa. I had $1,000, and I said, you know what? I start thinking of that.
And a fiance.
Yeah, yeah. By that time, we were married.
Oh, you already
we got
married.
married. Yeah. No. Yes, I think we went on and got married right away. Maybe maybe after 3 months or so. Yeah, but anyway, I forgot the timeline. But yes, I had $1,000 to my name, and I used that to open a international dating and marriage service called You and Me International Dating and Marriage. Because I started thinking, wait a minute, that company I worked for in the USA, you know, I thought it was a bunch of crap because I didn't understand the concept. But now, seeing that I'm broke, I'm going to force myself to understand the concept and help Americans meet Japanese women in Japan. And that's what happened. So I took that $1,000, I took $600 of it and gave it to this lady who had the worst office space that you can imagine. It was terrible. And then I took another 100, got a sign made, and I took another 100 or so and put an ad in the paper. But inside the place was terrible. Outside the place was terrible. People would come there and say, "Oh my God, I think I have the wrong place." And I said, "No, you don't. You know, I'm not in the real estate business. I'm not an interior decorator, but I do have what you came for, and you came to meet somebody special, and I think I can help you do that." You know. So then this guy come in and open the book. And it's like nobody, and there's like 4 girls in there. And he said, "Is this all you got?" And I said, "Yeah, look, we just opened." I said, "Look, if you come next week, there will be more girls. You come next month, there will be more." And I said, "I could have lied to you and filled it up with all fake members. And then as you choose," I said, "No, she wasn't interested, or she wasn't interested."
I got you.
Until you
the
choose.
Ponzi, yeah.
Yeah, until you choose one of these
you
4.
actually have. Yeah.
And he said, "You know what, I can respect that. Okay, I understand." He said, "Well, let me meet one of these." And then later he came back and met more down the road. So that's how I started in the dating business. And to this day, I'm still in the international dating business, but I'm taking it
to a whole
further,
nother level,
to a whole nother level.
Yeah. And we can talk.
Yeah.
I'm sure with time permitting,
Yeah.
we can talk about how Corona helped you come up with this idea.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, yeah. I'm gonna touch on my Corona visit to the hospital.
That's right. Had Corona, my man.
Yeah. I went to the clinic and I said, hey, I got a fever or whatever, and they said, oh, you got Corona. I said, oh, you sure? They said, yeah. You wait in that room over there. They had a room and they had plastic everywhere, and so they said, here, take these pills and you go home. And so I took those pills. They gave me pills for like 10 days. And I come back about 2 weeks later, I was feeling great. And I said, hey, I'm feeling great, but I just want some more pills for cough. I'm coughing a little bit. And they took my temperature. They said, oh my God, your temperature is high. I said, what? I feel great compared to how I felt like yesterday or a couple of days ago. I thought my temperature was back to normal, but it was really not. And they said, you need to go to...
That's when you were admitted.
Yeah, they said, you need to go to the hospital. So they called the doctor and they said, hey, Cullen Darby, he will be showing up and you need to take him in as soon as he get there. So I arrived at the hospital and they said, wait, you have to stay outside.
Right, you couldn't come inside.
Yeah, they got a chair. I was sitting outside in the chair. It was kind of lonely.
So nobody else was out there? Nobody else?
No, just me.
Okay.
And they said a doctor will be with you in a minute. So I waited out there and then they came and got me. And I had my own private room. Of course, you know, you don't want to infect the whole world. But it was about 15 or 20 people on the same floor with coronavirus as me. And then I said, doctor, what are you going to do about this corona? And the doctor started laughing almost. And I said, what's wrong? Why are you laughing? He said, corona is the least amount of problems. You know, corona is your least problem.
Yeah,
that you have way more problems than corona.
Right.
He said, corona's number 3 on your list. We worried about that later. I said, well, what's wrong? They said, you got blood clots in your lungs and you got pneumonia. So we have to work on those first, and then we'll address COVID down the road. So I was all screwed up, and maybe 6 months before that, I was in the hospital with pancreatitis.
Yes, that's right. That was in Okinawa, right?
Yeah, and the doctor said, Cullen, you're gonna die in 2 days. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, yeah, if you don't live past 2 days, you're just gonna. I mean, if you don't make it past 2 days, you're not gonna be here. Yeah, so. Yeah. I said, okay, well, can you just give me 3? I got some passwords. I got to give it to my kids, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, I was laughing about it. But,
yeah, so you're in the hospital.
So anyway, with Corona, as far as Corona, I was just in the hospital, just, you know, sick as a dog. My temperature was just high. It was going crazy. And then after a few days of that, I said, oh my God. I got an idea.
Well, that's after we were talking, because I called you. Once Danny told me you were in the hospital, Danny told me, and Dan told me too, that you're in the hospital. So then I started calling you every morning, saying how you doing, how you been. I text you, whatever, then you call me, and then we do face chat. And the first time I saw you, I said, brother's feeling pretty bad, because you felt bad. And I said something, you always had a joke or something. I said, well, how you feeling? He said, not as, I forget, but you had some joke about that. And I said, he's going to be okay. Yeah. And then the next time, it was not then a couple of days you were like that. And you said you're getting a little bit better. Then I called you and I saw a light in your eye and you said, man, I'm not going to say what you said, but you said, man, I hit it. You said, I hit the end. I got to the end of the rainbow. I'm ready to rock the house when I get out. I said, okay, here comes another business deal. And my man's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, this idea, you know, you hear about people who die and come back and do some business idea or in a hospital. I feel like I'm one of those individuals.
Close to that,
because I was literally in the hospital dying, but this idea came to me, which would never had it came to me. Normally, I would have just took my dating business and done it myself with a couple of employees like I've always done. But while I was in the hospital, I said, no, I'm going to take this and make it into a massive business where we hire and train hundreds of matchmakers and put them all over Japan and all over the world. So that idea came to me, and I called my friend Danny. I said, Danny, I got an idea. Can you make sure I get some pen and paper in the hospital, please? And he brought it to the reception and they brought it to me. And I wrote my business plan out while I was sick with a fever on 6 or 7 pages.
Made you get well quick, didn't it?
Yeah, I said, I got a business to run.
There you go.
And I'm out of here.
I equate men making businesses equivalent to women giving birth. Because it's the closest we'll ever feel to having our own child, you know, something we've created.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. And it's hard to describe, but you told me your philosophy about doing business too. The reason why you've done so many is because you don't like staying around. You like to give birth to them.
Yeah.
see they're healthy and nurtured, then you say, you push them out the nest.
Yeah. When I create a business, the first thing I think about is, I'm serious. The very, very, very first thing I think about is, how can this business run without me?
That's interesting.
You know, how can I make sure that I do my job as a business owner and set this business up properly with a fail-proof methods in place where I don't have to, I'm not here to babysit. And if I want to do a job and work all day, every day, I can just go get a job and do that.
That's true,
But the reason I set up businesses is so they can work for me.
I got you.
Yeah, just like when you put money in your bank and you get a certain amount of interest, you want your money to work for you. You're not working for it. So I feel the same way with businesses, you know.
When I was an investment consultant, that was one of our lines. I'd come into someone's home and I said, there's only two things that create capital. That's either a person at work or their money at work.
Right.
And one day you're going to be too old to be working.
Yeah.
So you need to have your money out there working for you.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That's so true. So you had that from a long time. So anyway, so you have your dating service. So you've been going gung-ho on that. Or how far are you close to making it come online now? Are you ready to rock and roll with that?
You know, have you ever had a situation where you're opening a business and so many roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and you just want to just throw in the towel and say, you know what, I give up. But that's not in your DNA to do that. You know, that's what's happening to me right now. So I'm going to force open this business, even though I'm having a lot of roadblocks, because there's a lot of details in this business that I've never dealt with. A whole bunch of crossing the T's and a whole bunch of I's that I have to cross. But every time I get ready to cross a T, oh, well, you can't cross that T, you know, or you can't dot that I because of this.
Challenge how bad you want it,
yeah, so this is my most, this is one of my biggest challenges, even though I've opened business after business after business, but this one is like that Powerball business where when you open it, all your numbers are going to come into place, and you'll be like, yeah, I told you, boy, yeah,
that's
I
nice.
told you.
That's nice.
So
that's good. So tell me, so anyway, so you came to Okinawa, you set up but that's not all you did. You set up your dating business. Then from there, because you had a car lot there too.
Right.
That come in next.
While I was doing the dating business, I've always done other businesses at the same time because one of my.
So you never let go of that. That's still going right now.
Yeah. Okay. So one of my personality traits about business is always to not. Well, I don't know about other people. A lot of people say do one thing and focus on one thing, but I have the personality where I can focus on three things. So I always have a business and then a backup business and another backup business because you never know what's going to happen. Look at Corona, where so many people got knocked out of business because they had that one disco.
That's right, or some area, or it could be, it could be.
And you weren't allowed to go to no disco during the Corona.
That's
and
we had even clubs, just regular clubs.
That's what I'm saying. Clubs, discos, bars,
disco bars, whatever. You've been taken out.
All kind of things. So in my case, hey, I have the backup this and backup for that, and if those don't work, I have some savings. You put money aside for that. So while I was in Okinawa, I took the advantage of I had 2 car lots. One was called luxury cars, and then a partner of mine was bless you. So anyway, I closed that. And then I did another one called Oki Car.
Oki Car?
Yeah, Oki Car, meaning Okinawa cars.
Okay.
Oki Car, yeah.
Because Oki means large.
Yeah, in
Japanese.
And exactly, Oki, big, and car, or Okinawa car. So it stood for 2 things.
2 things, okay.
Yeah, and then, but before that, remember I said I started businesses out of revenge or some craziness, right? Well, a while before that, maybe 5 years before that, or 6 years before that time, I started I was passing this big shopping mall downtown in Okinawa. And I'm like, man, they don't have no Americans in this place, and they probably discriminating on everybody, So I went up there. I went up to the office where they handle all of the vendors and all of the shops, and I said, I want to put a store in here. And then they said, okay. I was like, what? I was expecting to storm out of here, So they said, okay, we need you to open up. Like it was Monday. They said, can you start? Here's a spot right here. Can you start Wednesday? And I said, no, I can't start Wednesday because I still have my stuff coming from the States right now. I have some goods coming in right now, which I didn't. I had nothing. I had no internet back then. I had 0. I had nothing but 3 seconds to think about what am I going to do? everything came out of this conversation because when I walked in there, I had no idea that I was going to have a store. So she said, okay, you can have a store right here. Can you open Wednesday? I said, no, I can open in 2 weeks because I have stuff coming from the States. She said, okay, what kind of store are you going to do? And at that time, I quickly said, I'm going to do a jewelry store. So that's what I stuck with. And I opened a jewelry store. 2 weeks later, I had a jewelry store there called Miss America Jewelry. Jeez, and it was so, people loved the name. And I told the girl, hey, look, you got to dress like Miss America. Because I had an employee, I said, hey, don't wear no regular clothes. You have to dress and be beautiful like Miss America. And everybody would say, wow, we love the name. The store name is good. But I guess you're wondering where I get all the jewelry and all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Well, I was downtown Okinawa. So my idea was I went to all the jewelry stores surrounding that mall. And I said, I want to buy all your junk, anything you couldn't sell. I want it. I want to buy it in bulk. And they were selling me just cases and cases of unsellable jewelry and everything for peanuts, for nothing. And I used that to stock my whole place. I stocked my whole place for probably about $300.
So you using the money that you got from your car dealership for that?
From my car deal. I didn't.
You were doing One World too, weren't you? One World line at that time?
What?
You remember the guy that I knew, I forget his name, who came to me and tried to get me to work with him here, and I let him use my office to do that. And he told me about you. That's the first time I heard about you. I know. He said, I said something. He said, Lance, there's a black guy that works for me. Works with me in Okinawa. And he said, he's my biggest salesman. He said, my biggest salesman. He's cleaning up, and then he's trying to sell me on. I said, look, I've been in network marketing, and I said, I've done all this stuff. Can you make this? And I showed him that I was doing the scanner business. I said, you can, no.
Right.
I was the only one here doing that.
Well, what happened was,
talking about you,
the only reason I got involved with that business was because at the time, phone calls were $4 a minute.
Oh man, it cost you a fortune.
And this guy had something where you can pay 25 cents and bypass it and pay 25 or 50 cents a minute. And I said, I want to be in on that because I'm not selling nothing. I'm going to help people save money.
That's right.
And I was signing up people left and right. But before I went to sign up people, I made sure I went to sign up agents first. And I just signed everybody. I wasn't thinking about the customers. I was thinking about how many agents can I get and tell them the same story. Look, we're going to help people save money. Right. And all you got to do is sign here on the dotted line and start making it happen. And then I blew it up in Okinawa.
That's right, you sure did.
But one thing that I hate about working with somebody where, they're going to make these crazy decisions. And what happened was the president of that company decided.
I forgot his name.
Brad Poblowski,
Brad Poblowski, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he is for CNN, his thing on CNN. I have a video of me recording CNN, recording him in my office. I had to take the pictures off my wall because it was my grandparents, my parents. Because Brad Poblowski is white.
Yeah.
That's the name it says in the way.
Yeah.
And he came to me and he saw my business and he was going, wow. I said, no, my business is my, I'm doing medical equipment business. And he's trying to give me the phone business. It's not necessary. I can afford the $4 a minute.
Right. So then he decided that he's going to take all our customers and divert them to another company.
He sure did.
And that decision just wiped it out because I said, oh, you want me to take the customer that we have, tell them to stop using these numbers and start using a different number and this and that and this and that. And I said, you know what? And then another company just took over and made millions.
Sure did. But then also NTT, all of them came in.
Yeah.
They started, because what he was doing was he was dealing with the company. You called a computer there. It called you back, and you had access to wherever you wanted to call.
Right, absolutely, for nothing, for pennies at the time.
For pennies, yeah. That was something, Because I used the service. I mean, I'm not going to throw away money, but it was that.
Yeah.
So you had that. You were doing that business, and you were doing your car business, and you had that going, and you still have your dating service.
And at that time, I was sitting in my dating service office, and I saw some old Japanese dolls in the garbage.
That's right. Yeah.
I was bored out of my mind, and these 3 dolls looked like they went through hell. They were handicapped. They were, they were sick.
They
had COVID like 10 times. They
were
moldy, I didn't know it at the time, but they were the first COVID-19 dolls, right?
Yeah, okay.
So I took them dolls out of the trash. I said, man, I'm gonna find an idiot. If somebody paid me $5 if somebody paid, it was a joke to myself.
I got you.
If somebody paid me $5 for these dolls, this is gonna be funny.
Japanese dolls.
Yeah, because I heard that people buy anything on the internet.
Right.
So I put those dolls on eBay, And it was a bidding war, and I sold them for $900.
No, you didn't.
I'm sure I did. And I told myself, Cullen, what? Yes, what do you want to say? You have a new business, my friend. And that's how I end up selling dolls for 6 years.
Wow.
Japanese dolls. I would go to recycle shops or museums or old doll stores or anywhere I can find these nice dolls with beautiful kimonos and buy them for 1,000 yen and sell them for $300, $400, $500, you know, all kind of fees, exorbitant amounts of money. And there was a funny story where this lady, she has an antique shop in Okinawa. It looks like a castle deep in Nago. And she used to sell me all these dolls because she never wanted them, but they would come with her antique stuff. Okay. When she ordered bulk antiques from Osaka. And she would say, okay, Cullen, I have like these 15 dolls. I said, all right, I'll take them all. Here's 15,000 yen. So I take them and sell them for $300, $200, $300, $400, $500 each on the internet. So one day, somebody with a big mouth went and talked to this lady because she told me. She said, oh, I heard they sell on the internet for like $300, and she didn't like me no more. She hated me.
She thought you were taking advantage of her.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm like,
but
no,
you
had
no
selling.
Idea. Come on, you had no idea about this.
Yeah,
until
and then she stopped selling to me at all, and then she started selling them on the base every year. They have some type of
doing it herself,
bazaars or whatever they call it.
Around,
And then she started doing that. But she thought I was the enemy. But I've been buying dolls from her for like 3 years. Everything she had, no questions asked. And now suddenly she think, oh, you know, you were buying these for me for 1,000 yen and you were selling them for $300. Well, what do you expect? You want me to sell them for 400 yen $4 after I buy them for $10? You know?
No, it's just
Yeah. So then one day I went to a day spa. And I didn't like how they did the massages or whatever. So I said, all right, I'm going to open one. And now next thing you know, I have two day spas over there as well. So
you have 2 day spas
yes.
over there as well. Because as a matter of fact, when I was there with my wife, you asked me to go back, but we didn't have time on the way back to stop there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, that was just a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, and then something else interesting happened. I found myself, you know, for the last 20 years, people were into domain names, so I would buy some interesting ones here and there. But
that's right. You had something with that too.
Yeah. So one time I seen a guy on eBay. He's selling Harleys.com for $26,000, just a domain name. So I approached him. I said, "I'll give you $800." You know, you got to have really guts to do.
Okay, some of the
you got to have guts to be Darby. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, I didn't care what he said.
Right,
you know,
you can't lose it. You're 50% closer than you are before you ask.
Yeah. So he says, "All right, can you work with me?" I said, "All right." I said, I'm working with you. He said, "All right, can you give me $1,300?" I said, "Okay, $1,300 sold." I bought Harleys.com for $1,300, right? From $26,000 to $1,300. So then, obviously, it was some guy waiting, trying to. Maybe he was thinking the same thoughts, but he was going to wait till the auction ended. But the auction was still going, and I contacted him right away. "Hey, man, I want to buy this now, you know, for this." And he sold it. And some other guy contacted me. "Hey, man, I saw what you did. I was waiting for that name," or blah, blah, blah. I said, "Hey, I'll sell it to you, you know, for $40,000 if you want it, you know." But he didn't want to go for that. But so I approached Harley Davidson company and said, "Hey, I have Harleys.com. I want to sell to you for $50,000. They had no interest. I was surprised. You know, now that Harley's Corporation has no interest in Harleys.com, I am stuck with the name. Even at $1,300 is a loss. So finally, I put it back up for sale in hopes that somebody else would think that they're going to sell it to Harley's. Like I thought, Harley, they're happy with Harley-Davidson.com, which is a long domain name.
That's right,
you know, they should have took it. But anyway, I finally sold it to these guys in Israel for $10,000, right? And then 3 months later, they approached me and they said, "Hey, would you like to buy the name back?" I said, "No, thanks. You know, it's yours. You bought it."
You took the loss too, yeah.
So then down the road, I was listening to Japanese news, and they were saying, "Okay, the casinos are coming to Tokyo. We're gonna allow the, you know, gambling here and everything." So I went online. I bought Caesars Tokyo and Caesars Japan.com. And I bought some other big casino names, you know. But rather than me just taking those names and holding on to them, I put up 2 Caesar salad websites. So you can't say that I'm domain, you know, what do you
It's
call
hard
it?
to do it now because they have so many prefixes now at the end. You can change it, and the .com is not the only one anymore. It doesn't matter.
The .com is not the only one, but the .com is the only one.
The main one. It's the main one.
If you don't have .com, you're messing around.
Well,
.com is the one you need to have. Period.
Well, they have org. Is a big one too, because like with TAC uses org.
Yeah.
Another one, so.
But .com
is
the one that's going to be more valuable, because trust me, I've been in this domain industry a long time, in the internet industry. .com is first. All that other stuff is down the road.
They have so much stuff,
And if you do a search on the internet for something, 9 times out of 10, I bet you all the names are .coms that come up first. You won't see .tv,
they have all kinds of stuff.
It's so much, but you don't see it come up in the search unless somebody give it to you and say, okay, yeah, my address is gifts.tv or .biz.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So anyway, later down the road, they approached me through a middleman company, and they said, all right, we're interested in buying CaesarsJapan.com and CaesarsTokyo.com. So they researched me. They knew who I was, because there's a way you can find who owns.
Of course,
a website.
on the backside,
So they found me, and they knew I had both of them. So they put that one offer to me at the same time. So I knew they
looked you up,
And what I thought of was this. I thought, if somebody's looking for Caesars Japan, if somebody's looking for Caesars Casino, they have to type Caesars Japan, or the Caesars USA gonna pop up. So they have to type Caesars Japan. And if they can't find a Caesars Japan, they're gonna type Caesars Tokyo. So that's what I thought, and that's why I bought those. So they contacted me, they said, we'll give you $1,000 for both of those names. And I bought them for $9, you know. And I was like, nope, that ain't gonna work. Then they said, okay, we'll give you $2,000. I said, no, that ain't gonna work. Then they said, okay, we'll give you $10,000 for both of those. And I said, no, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and do my Caesar salad franchise, you know. And then they said, okay, we'll give you $18,000 for those. And I said, no, I'm pretty much gonna work on my Caesar salad franchise, and you know. So then they stopped contacting me at all, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be stuck with these names. You know, I could have sold them for $10,000. I could have sold them for $8,000. I could have sold them for $1,000. I would have still been plus from the $9. So after like a month, I said, all right, before this gets stale, before this gets too old, let me just contact them, because I could pretty much feel where they're at, you know. I said, all right, you can have them for $25,000. So I sold them both for $25,000.
You did?
Yeah, I sold them both for $25,000, both of them as a set. Yeah. So, and then what else we can think of? I have a Japanese friend finder website. I had that for like 20 something years, you know. So yeah, it's just been a lot of trial and error, but a lot of business I've started, I didn't know nothing about them until you just put your feet in the water and just say, all right, let me just go ahead and swim.
Outside of having a family here in Japan, not outside, because that could be the only reason. Is that the biggest reason why you stayed in Japan?
Well, yeah, the main reason I stayed in Japan, of course, I have family, my kids are here, you know. Other than that, I have businesses set up here, so that's going to keep me here, because I want to keep an eye on them. I don't want to set them up and just leave. But,
yeah, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any other plans for the future? I mean, the biggest thing you're working on right now is, I'm not going to get your mind off of anything else, because that's what you're working on. Your online dating service, which is going to be off the hook.
Yeah, we're working on a plan. This is the first time in history that this is going to be done, where we're taking the network marketing aspect of things, and then we're making the people the product. So this will be the first time where the people are the product of a network marketing. How can you not? You ever hear of network marketing companies? They come into a certain country and they say, well, you know, that can't be approved because we don't approve that ingredient.
You're using red dye or something.
Yeah, we don't approve that, or we don't approve that. Well, in this situation, you can't say, well, you know, we don't approve Cullen Darby to do this because he's spoiled. Unless I'm a spoiled kid. They say he's spoiled, he's rotten, so that product we're not going to allow. No, you can't do that with people, because people are everywhere, and this is how the organization is going to grow, because the product is the person. Yeah, because we allow the person to take our coding, our website, our tools, and create their own business and make them grow in several ways by allowing them to have a group, and then their group to have a group, and it goes on and on and on. But the product is people being the customers who take advantage of the service that we have. We help single men and women get together either by marriage, dating, or life partners, or just friendship. And we help individuals. We're going to help individuals around the world, especially Japan, set up their own business as a marriage counselor. We're going to train people to be marriage counselors. Wow.
If someone went to
matchmakers, not counselors, but matchmakers. Matchmakers. Yeah.
How would someone contact you if they want to contact you?
They can contact me through lifemates.jp, and they can go into the contact information and contact me there. Yeah.
That's the best way to contact you?
I have the website right there,
Right.
lifemates.jp. Then go there and it's, the contact. Oh, there it is right there. Okay. And send me an email that way,
And you respond to everybody, of course.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Cullen, I want to thank you for this time, man. I didn't do you just the first time. This time, man, you really had me in. That was really deep. I enjoyed that. And I hope our listeners enjoy it as well. I'm sure they will.
There's
not a whole lot of us doing this.
Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm glad you came down here to put me on your podcast.
No,
I enjoy spending time with Lance.
Because I looked at yours and I said, I got a few words I didn't. I said, I gotta go.
And I was in the background on the computer. I'm like, hey, y'all talking? I'm busy.
Well, because people will be able to see this. They'll be able to see this on YouTube, and they can listen to it on podcast, because it's just going to be just as enjoyable. I think even more so listening to it, and then imagining. If they want to see what you look like, they can go on to YouTube and check out the channel that's there.
Yeah, and I have a channel, Motor City Tokyo. You're
gonna be putting that out soon too.
Yeah, I have videos up there, but I didn't like lively announce it to all my friends and relatives.
Are they listed already?
Motor City Tokyo is there, but I'm just putting videos up little by little. But down the road, when I launch it, I'm gonna have it all over everywhere. Go to my channel, check me out. I'm gonna do like Brother Lance. We got the podcast, we got the YouTube channel, we got the face-to-face businesses, we got the lunch at Tony Roma's, we got
everything, yeah.
We got the phone calls. Hey Lance, what's going on? Come on and pick a brother up.
That's nice, yeah. Because I think people just want to hear what other people are doing around the world, and I think the multifaceted media system we have going throughout the world now makes it so easy. That's the only reason why everyone was wearing masks at the same time.
Yeah.
That's why this COVID epidemic or pandemic has been so effective, because no time before this time has the world been able to communicate so easily.
Yeah.
And they just said, everyone put on a mask, everyone, this is COVID.
Yeah.
But see, most people don't really know how it started. They know it started in Wuhan, but we know what really spread it. Because we found out. Yeah. And maybe, should we tell everybody on this podcast?
What spread it?
Because because Dan's the one that found out.
Oh, yeah.
What spread it
through the
during that
military.
Time, people don't realize in 2019, they had the military Olympics in Wuhan.
Yeah.
And where they had over 100 different countries, and we have the video to show this too, participate at the same time. But 2 countries did not participate. Japan and England.
Right.
But England still had delegates there. Japan didn't.
Right.
So they knew not to let the Diamond Princess. They said they knew what was going on.
Right.
So that's why the conspiracies go on for the people that are in the know, trying to figure out, wait, people knew this. So it's like as if it wasn't an accident.
Right.
Because those people, a lot of the people in the service who were competing, when they came home, got violently sick, but they couldn't say anything.
Right.
Because they have a non-disclosure agreement being in the military.
Yeah.
They couldn't say a word.
Yeah.
But you start looking in the papers, the military papers, and you'll see different countries talking about how violently ill they were. None of them died, but they got really sick, and they were spreading it, not knowing it.
Yeah. And isn't it crazy that, Japan didn't go, but if you look at how things work in the world, it seemed like Japan, every country was just giving out their little dose of COVID, because Japan's dose came on a boat to Japan, even though Japan didn't go to the Olympics.
But they wouldn't let them in. They knew that.
But how did it get here then?
See, well, there could have been, there's other people traveling to go see it too. Yeah. It didn't take a whole lot. But there were not a single child died in Japan.
Yeah, that's good.
My wife said not a single child. And the people that did die had pre-existing
and it was only
conditions.
like 1,700
That's
people
right.
total.
That's
Total 1,700
So
deaths. I just checked that the other day. Yeah.
It was really small in comparison to how many people are around here in this international society. Come on.
Man.
It's unreal.
Yeah, and even my sister passed away. One of my stepsisters passed away
Because of
from
COVID?
Yeah.
Did she?
Yeah. Same time.
I don't know
Same
anyone
time
in my
I was in a
family.
hospital.
Oh, wow.
In April,
Oh, I
my
think you
sister
mentioned
passed away of COVID. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. And then
It's your sister-in-law, right?
my stepsister.
Oh, your stepsister.
One of my father's.
Okay, one of
daughters.
your brothers.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Was she
yeah.
older, younger?
So she was about 63.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit older.
And then my manager of one of my businesses in Okinawa, his nephew died, and he was 24 of COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, but he was a bigger guy. Yeah.
Your sister, was she large?
No, she was skinny.
Skinny girl. Did she have any other conditions? Nothing?
Nope.
Did you?
No. I'm going to tell you what she had. She had a mental illness because, okay, this is what happened. She was so smart, right? And she got a job, let's say 35 years ago or 40 years ago. She got a job in the suburbs of Detroit. And one of these ladies in her office put LSD in her coffee. And she just went crazy. Yeah.
How did you know that? How would you find that out?
That's what happened, because that's what happened at work. I mean, nobody, you go to work normal, and then you
what
come
kind
out
of business did she work in?
She was just working in like a, like insurance office or something
so
like that.
So somebody didn't like her enough to do that.
One of these suburb ladies,
okay.
you know what I'm saying? And, they just,
And she was tripping out. That was it. She never came back.
Never right again. Yeah, she was from smart, straight A, on target, on track, on time.
How old was she
Nothing
when that
wrong. In her early 20s at least.
Oh, you mean so from that time on till she lived to be 60-something years old?
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
She never came down from that.
No, it was something. It was just it just fried her brain up or whatever. People. Yeah. Yeah.
That's sad.
Yeah.
I hate to end on that note, but I think we will. Listen. All right.
Yeah, that's not a good note to end on, but let's end it.